This was the week where Representative Alexandria Ocasio Cortez went to the Met Gala in New York City wearing a dress that said, "Tax the rich." I'm sure everyone's heard about this, or if you're listening in the future, that was 12 years ago. Here she is wearing a beautiful dress saying, "Tax the rich," and everyone, and I mean everyone, lost their minds over this photo, okay? Either you were like, "YASSS QUEEN, she can do no wrong," or you were a Tucker Carlson, who's currently live shitting a brick right now, or you're, Glenn Greenwald and part of the professional managerial contrarian class, who's wrote an entire Substack about this. Oh, he's so mad. Paywall, paywall, paywall. People on all sides have a lot of opinions about this dress, and I want to get your thoughts. More about the event and the dress. The dress was borrowed. It was created by a designer named Aurora James, who is a Black immigrant and focuses on sustainability. And apparently, and I didn't know this, elected officials in New York are often invited to the Met Gala since it is a cultural event and a fundraiser. So she did not pay. And apparently anyone can go to the Met Gala, which I'm like, Jesse, what are we doing next year? You know what I mean? Like, let's get this. Like, I'm thinking all the Newsbroke crew stacked on top of one another in a giant trench coat. I mean, that's basically what the show.
In the Kardashian outfit.
In the Kardashian outfit that we're going to get to in a second. Obviously, this is causing a lot of commotion. Is it neoliberal virtue signaling? Is it the highest level of trolling of the wealthy at their own event? What do you think?
I don't think it's neoliberal virtue signaling, because it's like it is sending a message that is like the opposite of that, right? I mean, taxing the wealthy, that's a good message to send. If she was only wearing that dress and then not trying to do anything to that effect, then like, okay, yeah, we could say that it's like merely a surface level thing, but like it's not, I think that it goes in line with everything that she stands for and that she's trying to do. And the people who are saying that, that it's neoliberal are, I don't know, they're virtue signaling.
I definitely feel like I had a lot of reactions when I first saw the photo. My first instinct was, that's dope. My second was, she's going to get hammered on this from all sides. Everyone's going to be mad about this. But my feeling is it is a little column A, like it is shallow. It's a silly event, and it is performative. It's 100% performative, and that's okay. It's okay to have some things that are a little performative, and especially kind of like, talk about an inside job, dude. This is like right where the rich live. There you are, and you're saying it to their face. Like, yeah, the Kardashians are there. Rihanna, who's a billionaire. The Kardashians are obviously multi-billionaires, but like, they're right there. These folks all, whether or not you think they're self-made, no hate, but like, they all need to be paying way more in taxes than they do. And so, yeah, so I was conflicted about this, and I wrote something that I felt like was, representative of, she really did a good job playing it. So I tweeted, hate the gala, not the gal. Well played, AOC. And I got a response, and I thought this was a really good way of putting it. I think this is also a designer who writes, her name's Lindsay Ballant. "Shallow, superficial, cheap, you bet. We have to play this shit sometimes to make these ideas go more mainstream, for better or for worse. I know for a fact that more design friends are going to send this to me than an episode from a socialist podcast or a news about a labor issue." Hey, Lindsay, what do you mean a socialist podcast? This podcast could definitely reach a lot of people. How dare you? No, but I thought that was kind of right on. It was basically like, look, this is a mainstream way to get to people. And one piece of evidence of that is like, apparently, this is Google Trends. Tax the rich as a search term surged, right? Just in the same stupid way that, like, when Republicans repeat critical race theory a bazillion times, Google search terms for critical race theory just go through the roof, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole there's a reason that people send out these public messages. You know, it's not useless. It gets people thinking about stuff. It gets people to change minds sometimes. Like, it's useful to send messages like that, as surface level as they might seem.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that there's a couple, sort of another aspect, which is how, I don't know. I think about, what if this was J-Lo? What if this was J-Lo wearing that dress? People would love it. And there would be no judgment, because it's like, oh, J-Lo doing something different. Oh my God, J-Lo, yay, J-Lo, yes. But if it's a congresswoman, it's very much like, no, how dare you? And that's because it's either stay in your lane, essentially, and everything you're doing, like, stay in your lane, stay, like don't step out, don't be bold, right? And also the only difference is that AOC is a celebrity, but she's actually working on these issues. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to think about that. And look, if she only wore dresses, if that was her job, look, there is someone like that in Congress. We've talked about her many times. Her name is Marjorie Taylor Greene, and all she does is wear things and say things and meme things and fucking hold like press conferences to push her non-political agenda that has no legs whatsoever. Like, right. That's Marjorie Taylor Greene. That's not what AOC does, right? That's not what she is doing. She sits on committees. She hasn't been stripped of them. She's currently trying to push through this reconciliation bill that she is part of the Progressive Caucus, and their strategy to strong arm essentially a lot of the centrist Democrats, and specifically getting Nancy Pelosi on their side, which they've done successfully. Now, we will see proof in the pudding as to whether they'll get that 3.5, which, by the way, includes tax hikes on corporations, tax hikes on estate taxes, and tax hikes on the super wealthy, on sort of the top tier, which AOC has said openly that it should be like 70% for people who earn more than $10 million a year.
Yeah,
many of those people were in that gala.
Mm-hmm. And it's not about the dress. It's the people who like say it's like tacky, the people who say like whatever. It's because they don't want to tax the wealthy. Like, that's it. And they're looking for an excuse to, I'm Maybe. Sure that there's like one or two people. There are a few people who are like, yeah, it's a fake message or something. But I think most people, like, they don't want to tax the wealthy, which is such a weird thing I get why the politicians would do it. Like, their paychecks are signed, right? But like regular people who don't want to tax the wealthy, that is like just such delusional stuff. Like the wealth inequality right now is insane. And qualitatively, it's worse too, because at least in medieval times, like, peasant turd farmers weren't like, well, if I work hard, maybe someday I'll be king. But today people think that. So it's worse. It's worse now.
For sure. We have no illusions. I mean, I do think first of all, I think a lot of people do think they're going to be king one day, or going to be a millionaire one day, or they're going to be at the Met Gala with this. Yeah, exactly. But I get the last thing I'll say on this, and I could go on for a long time, but I do. I think that I understand how it can come across as annoying and just performative, but I also feel like on the left, we really need to push back against the idea that our ideas have to be fringe, that they can't actually be on a pretty dress, right? That they're only authentic if they are uttered sort of on podcasts and in the shadows, or by, only working people, or people like, who are just sort of right, but sidelined, and correct, but on the margins, right? Mm-hmm. I think that she's a good messenger. Let's use her as a messenger. And the same thing was said when a lot of women from working class movements like Domestic Workers United walked on the red carpet with Oscar nominated actresses. A lot of people were like, no, they're sellouts. How dare you? Oh my God. And it was part of the Time's Up movement. And I know there's some critiques of the Time's Up movement, but it was driven by working class women. And there was a great article written by this woman, Rinku Sen, who is one of the co-founders of this magazine, Color Lines. She was like, look, sometimes the left, we get so obsessed with our own marginality. We don't understand when actually our ideas are hitting the mainstream. Now, wearing a dress doesn't mean making it happen. Those are two very different things. but it is part of that cultural piece that moves the dial further.
Mhm.
What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/bitchuation room. Do it.